alignment of a road, everything is funded through the county. It's not funded through the township. So the county receives the money and reimburses the township. Okay? So you're exactly right to fill out the application to have some type. You don't have to have a bid-ready project when you apply for. You can't just say, well, we got 2 miles of road here, we want to put gravel on it. I mean, you have to be a little bit more adaptive. Yeah, yeah.
There's people at the state level.
Any other questions regarding gravel roads, ditch mowing? I talk about this every year. Ditch mowing isn't getting any better. I can tell you why. Because harvest in Wells County and in central North Dakota is no longer in August and September. It's in October and November. And when the ditches need to be mowed, you guys are at your busiest. So sometimes the best mowing jobs aren't done. I understand. I'm not criticizing by any means. But the best thing to do as supervisors is when you get that first snow, whether it's November or December or whenever it is, go for a little drive that morning. Whether it's 6 inches or 8 inches or 4 inches. I promise you, you'll know where good ditch mowing was. Those roads will more than likely be clear. Where bad ditch mowing is, the ditches are already filling up. There's drifts across the road. Yep.
Another thing that's happening in our, that I see a lot is guys are going out early.
Yep.
Before harvest, and then they regrow that farm in the old snow anyway.
Yeah, I can't stress how much 2 mowings is important. It's not, they set the August 1st, October 1st deadline. Obviously, the second one is very important, but in a year like we had last year, with all the moisture, that grass grew fast. And if you didn't mow it the first time in the summer and you went to try to mow it the second time in October, I bet you had your hands full. So, and ditch mowing I just can't stress how important it is. Because you guys are paying, as they stated earlier, right now, I'm guessing if you want a mile of road gravel, you're paying $8,000 minimum. That's your gravel that you paid for that winds up in the ditch. And it's going to go in the ditch. Some gravel is always going to go in the ditch. Operators are going to throw it in the ditch. Trucks are going to throw it in the ditch. Traffic's going to throw it in the ditch. But it's expensive, and it's gotten more expensive, and it's only going to keep going up. So trying to get your ditches mowed and not have big clumps of grass down the side. You know what's in those clumps of grass on the side of the road? All your gravel. And I don't need to tell you where it's going to go when it snows. So I can't stress how important ditch mowing is. Any other questions? Any questions for the commissioners?
Yep.
It's been brought up before today, but just to encourage all of you as township people to really apply for that flex funding. They changed that format now, so you're not going to get as much money as you did before. But it's really out there, and you have to have a specific reason. But I don't want to see a show of hands here as to you all can identify a road in your township that's shot. It was built in the 30s by CCC people. They're now 95 years old, had 10,000 corn trucks and wheat trucks over the years, and it needs more than occasional blading and lots of gravel. It may need, an aggressive shoulder work or whatever. Apply for those funds. What do you got to lose? I really would encourage that. I don't know when the next deadline is, but just an example, we just saw the results of that. I think Wells County only had 1 township that got money for, but Kidder County had 8. Why is that? I'm thinking they applied for more, okay, and more specific things. So you got to have a reason, which I think everybody can come up with. And like I said, it's kind of like this vote this fall. What do you have to lose to apply for it? To get whatever project done. The other thing is, I can speak for the county. for the whole commission, we really do encourage phone calls, and it's okay to call us if you have a constructive comment, because there's times at meetings we really struggle at what people think, okay, and what's out there, and, you know, alluding to the fact of what Dan just said today about, you know, this mill increase for roads, is it gonna pass, what kind of angle we're gonna use, what kind of, we want your input, you know, so calling is okay. All right, thank you.
One other thing, the commissioners didn't really want me to bring it up, but I don't always listen, so. Earlier, is the lawyer that was here, is he still here? Okay, well, this morning, basically, what you guys heard is making me believe that, I'm starting to believe more and more that the best place for most lawyers are in the bottom of the ocean, okay? So we were talking about working windrow and windrowing roads and how, you know, you cannot have any windrow on your roads, and if you got a windrow on your road, we got to send your blade operators to, all right. The little book and the training that all these guys go to, and these guys do go, okay? They show you a perfect road, I mean, there's no high shoulders, it's got perfectly great, adequate, proper gravel. I'm not making fun of anybody in here, by the way. Finding a perfect road in rural North Dakota is about as often as you see Bigfoot, okay? They don't train these guys on high shoulders and grass growing up on the road and trash on the road. If you have an absolutely perfect road with the perfect amount of gravel, he's exactly right, there shouldn't be working windrow. You're laying it all across the road. But that is not the case. When they train these guys on a perfect road, and that's not what they see. What they see is shoulders being pushed out, grass growing in on the sides, maybe some secondary roads don't have the proper gravel, which is understandable. And they're trying to, every little grass, the vegetation grows in, when that grass gets in with the gravel, it rolls in with the gravel, and you've got clumps. So don't think that we want to have working windrow this high, we don't. But it is unavoidable on a lot of our roads in Wells County and every other rural county in North Dakota. Okay? So, that's it. I'm done.
Say, Brad?
Yeah.
You pulled the shoulders on a couple of our roads.
Yep.
That really works.
It does.
You did a nice job.
We have one machine that we use for shoulder pulling, but we can't get around with it because you're such a limited base. So these guys are pulling with their blades, and that's actually what you need. We're just trying to ground up vegetation and speed the process of the healing up with that machine. But the actual work of pulling shoulders is done with the motor grader, not the shouldering disc. The shouldering disc helps speed up the healing process by grinding up those chunks, and then the real work is done by the motor graders. And these guys are pulling shoulders, and every spring is different, and you know, there's a limited time we can do it. We have guys doing some shoulder pulling in the fall on secondary roads that we know we're not going to touch in the winter, because those roads can have a little windrow over the winter. Trying to pull more shoulders in the township, it retrieves a lot of gravel. And I can tell you, very few people that we pulled shoulders on, very few people have come to me and said, man, I wish you guys wouldn't have done that. Almost everybody comes and says, man, we got a road again. And these roads are getting pushed out. None of these roads were built for the traffic and the weight. When they were built 70, 80, whatever years ago they were built, they weren't built for the size of trucks and equipment, loads. They get pushed out. And if the water don't run off and you don't keep crown, it all sits in the middle of the road and you've got bad roads. So it is important. It's very important. Okay?
If you do it and then get 2 inches of rain,
Thank you. Does everybody know all the county commissioners? Can you give them their names? Know who they are? I'm not sure. I'm Stan Bucks. I represent the Harvey Northwest District.
Thanks, Doctor. I represent Harvey. Again, I would like to re-emphasize all your townships apply for those flex funds. You can find any kind of project that'll work for that.
I'm Brian Miller. I'm from the southeast part of the county here, live in Eaton, and just want to say thanks for everybody coming, and just communication is the biggest thing. Just let us know what you're thinking and work with us.
Woody, you want to say something?
Danny Maxwell, everybody knows me, of course. I'm in District 1, Commissioner.
I'm District 5, Commissioner Brian Lowe. I would also like to thank you guys for your cooperation today. And like Stan said, if you got questions, give us a call.
Did I miss one now, or is that it? Thank you for coming. We got a couple more things that we got to get dealt with. I guess, Lex thinks we should have a roll call of which county or townships are recommended when it comes time to be. And we have to just make sure we got the right people voting. Okay. If you're from the township, just holler out yay or nay, or just yay. Berlin. Billadu? Brendan?
Yep.
Bull
Yeah.
Cafe?
Yep.
Chaseley?
Yes.
Crystal Lake?
Yeah.
Belger?
Yes.
Fairville?
Yeah.
Forward?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Germantown?
Yes.
Holland?
Yes.
Hamburg? Foxnest? I'm not. Hillsdale?
Yes.
Johnson?
Okay.
Lynn?
Still here?
Hillsdale?
Yes.
Sorry.
Johnson? Lynn?
Yeah.
Manfred?
They were here earlier, but I don't think they're here now.
Or were they? Yep.
Nobody is here?
Oshkosh? Pony Gulch?
Yeah.
Progress?
Yep.
Wrestling?
Yep.
Silver Lake?
Yep.
South Cottonwood?
Yes.
Speedwell? St. Anna?
Yep.
Sexton? Valhalla?
Yep.
Wells?
Yes.
West Norway? Yep. West Ontario?
Here.
Western?
Yes.
Woodward?
Yep.
Then, we got some directors that have to be, where's she want to do the minutes? Yeah, we can have the minutes.
I've got the minutes from our last annual meeting, which was March 3rd of 2025. Dan Stutling started off the meeting and presented materials before leaving for an appointment. There was budget materials, a bill for the road maintenance, and the county was asking for that bill to be paid and returned to the county as soon as possible last year. 15 townships were maxed out last year on their levy amount. If they needed any ditches or special levies on the land, they needed to follow century code. The Prairie Dog buckets were full last year at the state level, so we were going to get funds, and they most likely would go out in those July checks last year. Robin Weiss and John Nelson, our representatives, provided an update on some of the bills at the legislature last year. There was potential for funding on infrastructure and events such as county fairs. They were also looking at that 3-cent gas tax. Last year, 2/3 of those funds going to non-oil producing counties and cities, and 1/3 going to our townships. Flex funding was discussed, as well as property tax relief that was going through the legislature. There were lots of bills for the DOT last year. Tracy Sletmo from NDDOT was here last year, and she spoke about that flex fund. She, along with one other full-time state employee, are available to help with those applications for state grants. And I know there was a question about that today, so I would imagine we probably still have some of those people at the state level to help with those grants for those flex funds and whatnot. Jen Logren reminded the group about farm residents exemption deadlines, as well as other meetings. We held the roll call. Dale Schmitz was elected the District 2 Director at the state level for the Township Officers Association. And our commissioners and road foreman Brent Keller spoke to us and answered questions. If there are townships that are having difficulty filling seats, it was brought up that maybe we needed to look at combining townships together or possibly becoming unorganized. When we become unorganized, then the county becomes the default for all of the road questions and decisions. Richard Linney presented a treasurer's report. There was a motion to accept that report, and it passed. The previous minutes were read and passed as well. And elections for districts 1, 3, and 5 happened last year. District 1 was Dale Schmitz, District 3 was Alexa LaPlante, District 5 was Bob Wall, and we adjourned the meeting.
You heard the minutes, can I have a motion, or is there any corrections? Not, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Of Township? Is there a second? Township? Question? All those in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Treasurer's report, I guess, Holly couldn't be here today, so we don't have the numbers, but we can get them to if anybody wants to know, approximately where we're at.
I have not.
I think we're fine on money, but we can get you a treasurer's report. What was that now? The check for the dues? Yeah, just make it out to Wells County Township Officers Association, and we forward it onto the state. Oh, it's on that letter that she sent out.
It would go to Holly Whitaker, and she did have her address on the bill. When she sent out the letter for this meeting, she also sent a bill to make life a little easier for your treasurer to actually have a paper trail on that.
And on that, there's an address on there. Well, now we need to have elections for District 2, 4, and 6. We got some signs here, we could caucus for a little bit.
This is District 6.
District 6 over here. District 6 is, I got the list here. 6 is Speedwell, Sexton, Villadue, Berlin, Johnson, and Hawksmith. So you guys can meet over here. And District 4 is Oshkosh, Germantown, Fairville, South Cottonwood, Cathay, and Woodward right over there. And District 2 is the one I'm in. I'm down Lower Lake, Walhalla, West Norway, Hamburg, Bremen, right over there. Why don't you guys, there's coffee, if you want to grab a cup of coffee, and we can caucus and then come up with 6 is there, 4 is there, 2 over there. Can I just announce it? You all in. Okay, the election's been held by districts. In District 2, Gene Hartle from Rockford will take my position in District 2. And Holly Whitaker will be reelected to District 6. And Louis Seibel will be reelected to District 4. Election is completed. Is there any other old business that needs to come before the meeting? Any new business? Can I have a motion for adjournment? So moved. Thanks for coming.